it is central banking via the mechanism of inflation, and this is true of any currency counterfeiter. They are able to steal human time in perpetuity, so long as that monopoly can be preserved. Right? We saw it again with agri-beads. It happened with Panos, and now we have it legally instantiated in central banking. So, although it may not be the same visual, visceral, awful experience as physical bondage, this is a system of time theft. And I actually quantified some of this in the piece to argue about it. So the transatlantic slave trade took place from about the year 1500 to the mid 1800s. It was a 365-year stretch. 12.5 million human lives were stolen directly. So these are slaves that left African shores and went to American or European shores. About 2 million of those died in transit. So this is a massive, massive number, right? Like we talk about the Holocaust in Germany was, I think, 6 million Jews killed. So this is twice that number, just over a much longer period of time. And if you look at just the direct lives stolen, this is not counting their children, right? Their progeny who were born directly into slavery, all of the follow-on consequences that we're still suffering from today, frankly. And you just quantified each slave, saying that they labor 5,000 hours a year for an average life of 40 years. The transatlantic slave trade was responsible for stealing 6.8 billion hours of human time every year for 365 years on average, which came out to about 2.5 trillion hours stolen. And to set that side by side with central banking, I ran an analysis just looking at since 1981 to current, showing the average hourly wage rate and comparing that to the average annual wage, comparing that to the average increase in US M2 production. So we're just focused on the Fed. I was actually calculating how many hours of human time the Fed is effectively printing through quantitative easing. And looking at that 40-year stretch, rather, the number came to almost 1 trillion hours, which was about a little over 23 billion human working hours stolen per year for 40 years straight. And it's just, in terms of scale, it's monstrous, right? It's insidious because it's taking place over a much larger population, right? We have, arguably $3 to $4 billion users in the world, right? A lot of countries and a lot of people internationally depend on the dollar. So they're able to confiscate a little bit of time from all of them slowly and surreptitiously. But in terms of absolute scale, we're talking about something that's almost 4 times as many hours stolen annually than the transatlantic slave trade. And then the other number I compared that to was there's ancient texts saying that the Egyptian pyramids took 100,000 men 20 years, 100,000 slaves 20 years to construct. So each pyramid basically took about 10 billion hours of human time. So if you look at it that way, the Fed is basically printing enough labor or stealing enough labor each year to build 2.5 pyramids, assuming we could do so technologically. So it's a massive pyramid scheme that is vacuum cleaning, parasite style wealth and time from productive people. And I don't see how that type of institution will continue to hold up in the digital age. I just don't think they can keep the veil on it much longer. And Bitcoin clearly has been just this huge beacon of truth that's inspired dozens of people to talk about this, to come out about this, to write about this. And it's at the lowest level, that's why I'm in the game, and I think a lot of people are. So yeah.